Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. It's time to talk the season finale of The Penguin. Thank you so much for turning down the music because I forgot to do that. Hope you're having a good Monday. We've got an all-star cast here to discuss it, plus tons of news stories. So let's get going. Let's kick things off. Let's go. Let's start the show. Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're all here.
Good.
This is awesome. Everyone introduce themselves. We'll go around the horn, starting with the Verbal Riots.
What's happening, y'all? Dante from Verbal Riot. Ready to talk about the Penguin.
Oh, Angry Badger, thank you for joining us. The timeline is correcting, and I'm dangerously close to ODing on the white pills. I like it.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Hi, I'm Elaine at Nerd Cookies, and yeah, here to talk about the Penguin. Excited.
Hey, here's the script doctor here coming with you with all the crazy diagnoses that's going on in Hollywood and here to talk about the Penguin and see did it die or did it live?
Alan with Film Threat, talking about the Penguin.
All right. Well, we will get into it. We'll get into it here. Just want to say hi to everybody watching and remind people that you should go to shop.filmthreat.com because there are some glorious new designs. Our holiday collection has dropped here on a Monday, getting ready for Black Friday, which is coming up soon. So we have our new holiday designs. Deck the halls with Film Threat. I don't know if I agree with some of these designs.
I'm on a sweater.
You are on a shirt.
I'm on a sweatshirt.
Alan, you can get yes. Well, it's better when Alan says it. You can get your Alan sweater.
I may not be buying that one.
So I don't know. I might get one of you. I
Where are
like
the stockings. I need a stocking with your faces on it.
Yeah.
This is my favorite, the Film Threat Before Christmas. That is my favorite. We also have underwear, wrapping paper, and mugs. So for a limited time, you can get our holiday collection. So please pick up something from shop.filmthreat.com and help support our work. All right. A lot to discuss. Before we get to the Penguin, we should talk the box office here.
Oof.
So, Alan, if you would bring up the weekend box office, because this was one of the weakest box office. The number one movie made how much money this weekend?
16 million.
Yeah, this is one of the weakest. I don't know what in terms of years, how weak it is, but I don't think it's going to get any better. We've got maybe two big films before the end of the year, maybe three with Mufasa, Moana 2, and then you've got Gladiator 2, which you have seen, Alan, and of course,
I don't like
we've
when
also
you
got
laugh like
Wicked, which is that's a whole other thing. But how come? What do we think of this? And like, it's just
nice to see Heretic in third place. That actually looks really good.
Yeah.
He looks really creepy,
Heretic
like
is
in a
very
good way.
one.
Cool.
Yeah, the film is solid, but what I'm concerned about is going to the movies, sitting in a nearly empty theater. It's kind of sad. Any thoughts on this?
Well, here's the weird thing, but pageant ever. That's a Lionsgate movie. It's also a Faith movie, and 11 million ain't too shabby for a Faith film.
Mm-hmm.
That shows a strong performance. The other thing is Venom: The Last Dance. The real number is the total. It's 400 million. And international is beating domestic 2-1, well over 2-1. So it's just not resonating here in the States, but in China, it's doing great.
Well, they do like their tentacles out there.
The carnage is something they like. The symbiotes.
But it looks like Heretic just overtook. I don't know. Am I on the right one?
I just think the time of the theater might be over now. I saw this weekend that AMC is dumping all this money into revamping their theaters and redoing them, and I'm like, guys, what's the point of this, right? The theaters are fine. There's no point of dumping more money into making them look different. It's not the theater. It's the fact that no one cares about these movies anymore.
No, bro.
No one cares about movies anymore. Period. I mean, really?
Yeah,
A
I mean,
good film?
we've seen the trailers have just debuted the last 48 hours. One of them looked really great, and then the others were very forgettable, and that goes down in marketing. If you can't find a way to sell a movie so that people get excited to go see it, then you're going to see that reflected in the movie theaters. And the movie theaters are doing renovations for two reasons. Number one, hoping that the renovation will bring people back, but number two, they're going to use that renovation to justify the rise in ticket prices that we'll probably be seeing come March.
Look, Hollywood shot themselves in the foot a long time ago with the streaming services, man. This is what killed the movie theater, right? If you could just wait 3 to 4 weeks, that same movie will be on streaming, and you could sit in the comfort of your own home, drink a cocktail, not have to worry about screaming kids when you go out. They have shot themselves in the foot, right? Like, and on top of that, you're throwing in a $20 ticket just to go see a bad to mediocre movie.
Yeah, this probably
And
would
then
have
you're paying
happened,
more
but
for popcorn and soda.
COVID made it go into overdrive because it made us used to staying home and just watching stuff.
Well, but they made it easy, right? By keeping by only keeping the movie in the theater for a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, what's my incentive to go out and drop $20?
But didn't Five Nights at Freddy release on a streaming app and in theaters, and it somehow made, like, it can be done. It just has to be a good.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's
saying?
my point. Is it has nothing to do with the theaters. It's the movies. The
Correct,
fact that Wolverine and Deadpool and Inside Out 2, record-breaking box offices for those, and people want to go to the movies. They want to see it, but they're not going to waste their time spending all that money on mediocre films, and that's the problem. The mediocre films, they can wait for streaming. You have to produce great films, and unfortunately, we don't have any coming up.
But Five Nights at Freddy's, that's the exception, right? Like that's not the rule.
True.
And that's my point. Sure, people will go out once in a while because they're bored and they just need to get out. And if a movie does generate a certain word of mouth, then sure, people will they might go out and see it.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a beloved franchise, as well as Dungeons and Dragons. That's why.
Right. Okay. So and it already had a fan base. But my point is, like, again, it's the exception to the rule. It's not the rule.
Right.
That movie honestly should not have done as well as it did.
A lot of these movies are like they have smaller budgets too of this weekend, right? Heretic and Smile. Those weren't a huge budget, so there's that. I think it's just a slow week or a slow time at the box office. But Venom's doing well too, wasn't that? Especially overseas.
In China, it's doing good.
Yeah, well, Venom has no competition technically. I mean, if people actually liked the Joker Folie à Deux, that would still be in theaters and that would still be giving Venom a run for its money. But they pulled it because of audience reactions. Venom's got nothing to compete against. You also have other more entertaining aspects happening outside of the film business, technically, with this week and this past week, and that is drawing up a lot of attention and also a lot of happiness from a lot of people.
If they tried harder, I think we could. To Dante's point, right now it is the exception, but to Alan's point, if we maybe tried a little bit harder, because Freddy was it's a basic bitch movie. It was good. It didn't shit on the lore, but if you just do basic writing, I think we could see more people return. And make it easier.
Yeah, I think what you're alluding to, Script, is this right here. If I could just put this
Rent
full
free.
screen here. That's what you're alluding to, I think.
There's that, and also Justin Bateman doing some great commentary, hitting multiple aspects of how even access to filming technology does not make one a great filmmaker, and then also the content within it in itself is like, this is why current Hollywood right now is dying, is because you don't have anyone that's using the tools at their that they have at their disposal to do anything funny, good, and insightful, meaningful, dramatic.
But Script, my point is, even if something is good, right? Right now, the economy is awful, right? It's awful. And theaters are asking a lot of money, are asking a lot, right? They're asking a lot for tickets. They're asking a lot for food and beverage. And what's worse is, again, the movie will come out in 3 to 4 weeks on stream, right? So what I'm saying is streaming is what's killing them, man. It's streaming. Streaming is what's killing the theater. If a movie didn't come out on stream for like another 3 to 4 months, guess what? More people will probably go to the theater to watch that film because they're not going to be able to see it for 3 to 4 months. If I could wait a few weeks and not have to pay an extra $75 just to go out, then I'm going to wait.
Real quick, shout out to Ryan Kinnell of RK Outpost in the chat, and on this Veterans Day, thank you for your service. So there you go. I do want to pivot quickly to another. You made a comment about you, Elaine.
He's very scared of your stilt suit.
Your new avatar.
Yeah.
Your new avatar.
Oh, I missed that.
Ryan. Yeah. No, we brought it up. Sorry, yeah.
And we will get to Penguin.
Makes men uncomfortable.
Who did like the Batman?
This story is related. I will blow it up so we can look at it. It's about streaming services and the streamers fiddled while Hollywood burned. So let me get the correct banner here. Basically, this story, we'll put a link in the description here. This goes over how streaming took over, changed habits. I don't know if you could read this first paragraph here. Andrew.
I vividly remember my first job in LA like it was yesterday. Entry-level production assistant at E! Entertainment, licensing footage for E! True Hollywood story. I was overworked and underpaid with no health coverage, but I still thought it was the best job in the world. I was working in the business, like so many dreamers who had moved to LA before me. E! wasn't exactly premium cable. As the adage went, you can't spell cheap without E! But in the early 2000s, the channel spared no expense when it came to fostering a creative atmosphere.
And I'll just add something. G4 was located in the same building as E, and that's true. All those jobs at G4 and E were entry-level producer jobs in television. They paid very low, but you had a lot of freedom. So here you go. You continue if you would.
Yeah. In the summer of 2005, the channel hosted a block party where Kanye West performed a private concert for the staff. Back when Ye was harder, better, faster, stronger. Makeshift bars stocked with top shelf libations lined the courtyard. Luxury cars crowded the valet stand, and celebrities of every tier showed up in force. We were living in the moment, and ironically, none of it was on Instagram. Now I'm staring at the charred remains of my former career. I had clawed my way up to executive producer and showrunner status, yet found myself fighting to justify a $20 per head working lunch for my crew. Where did the money go? Why did production companies stop caring for their workers? For 20 years, I watched as budgets were slashed, jobs became scarce, and creativity was diluted by executives who had never touched a camera or written a script. Then, suddenly, the well ran dry. The phones stopped ringing. My agent called to brace myself for what was coming.
I'll just say this. I was around then, and I'll say that in the late 90s, my TV career started. I never made that much money in my life. I was working for FX. I did a show for Stars. The least money I ever made in my career, as my career on TV went as a host back then, this is more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I made the most money, then less and less and less. The least money I ever made was when I worked at G4, to be clear. So this is accurate to my experience. But if you would continue, Badger, thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah, of course. When I wrapped my final series in the spring of 2023, I had no idea it would be one of the last shows I'd produce on unscripted television. The warning signs of the massive iceberg ahead weren't clear. Sure, the WGA strike loomed, but for non-union producers like me who remember 2007 and 08, this should have meant a boost for unscripted television. We supported our fellow writers. They had benefits we could only dream of and believed in their cause. The strike came and reality TV crews stood ready. The work simply wasn't there. At first, it's hard not to internalize the silence. You question everything. Was it me? Had I been blacklisted, burned bridges? In LA's production world, your reputation is everything. So it's easy to blame yourself when things implode. Oh, that sounds like YouTube. Paranoia creeps in, manifesting darker thoughts, intrusive thoughts. For many of us in the industry, our first instinct was to turn inward. No one in Hollywood admits unemployment, especially in an industry built on a strive to survive mentality. The minute you show weakness, the sharks smell blood in the water. That's always been the culture. Keep your head down if you want to keep your job.
Read this these last two paragraphs, and then we can all comment.
Sure. While many of us in production struggled with depression and uncertainty, depression and uncertainty led to we started to admit things privately to one another among colleagues. Are you working on anything? We'd ask. The response was usually a practiced, yeah, not yet. Got a few things in the works. Then the pattern emerged that no one amongst us was actually employed. None of us was employed. As desperation mounted, the truth surfaced. I haven't found anything in 6 months, one producer admitted. Another confessed to driving for Uber or making DoorDash deliveries to make ends meet. Our agents offered hollow reassurance. It'll pick up on top of 2024, became survive till 2025. Hope can be as addictive as any drug on Sunset Boulevard. And in today's world of self-reinforcing media bubbles, wishful thinking becomes especially dangerous when reality diverges from belief.
And read the last one. Sorry about that.
Yes, sir. The truth was stark. Our industry faced fundamental change. Media has evolved before, but since cable television's advent in the early 1980s, the business model had remained relatively stable. When COVID-19 hit, streaming received what I'd call a steroid of necessity, as media conglomerates rushed to copy Netflix. Silicon Valley companies, flush with investor cash, yelped their battle cry, move fast and break things. And that they did. Without stopping to consider the consequences, to quote Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
And I mean, it goes on basically talking about how streaming broke a business model that was working, that kept people employed. I'll put a link in the description to this article. What are your thoughts on this, and where do things go?
Well, things are already shifting, but it's going to be a long and painful transition, because the biggest foolish activity that the studios did was they tried to make their streaming services like Netflix instead of doing what they should have done, which was just copy the network model and follow those exact same rules, just have it done over a computer screen or your phone or a tablet or something of that nature. I think enough people have realized that's what they should have done, and it's going to take years for them to actually sort of break the conditioning that has occurred on audiences to get them back into that area again. And the only way they're going to succeed is if they stick to the current course, which outside of Disney and with some exceptions that over at Paramount, the other studios are basically saying we're getting rid of the ideology. We're just trying to tell really great stories. We don't care if they're left or right. We might tell a good left story. We might tell a good right story, but the principle is that it's a good story. And it's going to be a painful transition for a lot of people. Zach Levy put out a post talking just about that. Same with Justine Bateman. And other celebrities are coming forward saying, yeah, we have to start getting back into what makes stories great. The other part, which I think is very poignant about this article, is that they point to a very obvious fact that we have executives making decisions that have never produced something, never written anything, don't understand how to make a movie by themselves. They're all corporate-minded people who don't understand how to make a product. And I think that's what's doing the most damage, because they saw streaming, they saw it as a product. They're like, we just have to copy that, completely forgetting the fact that Netflix was essentially Walmart or Blockbuster Video. They paid for the product that the studios produced, and then it was up to them to sell it to the customer. When they went DTC with their streaming model, they realized they didn't have any money coming in because it was all going between them and the customer, and people just don't have the disposable income to invest.
It's a Pandora's box,
Well,
isn't it? You
well said.
You can't put this back in. Like it's done. You showed the world streaming. You can't undo it. Gotta try to mitigate it, but
exactly. So
Yeah.
I just, we're going to continue to hear stories of our friends in the industry not working. So that you know, that quote in the article about doing Uber or DoorDash, that's real. And it's sad. It's sad to see.
But see, this is the dirty little secret, right, of what's been going on with DEI, right, and the woke Hollywood stuff, is the fact that for all their pandering, they never talk about the people who are really suffering, which is the people who are below the line, right, the people who are working paycheck to paycheck in the film industry just to pay their rent. Those are the people you don't hear about. So when they're out there grandstanding and making their claims of the first queer whatever, the first black whatever, and you just have to accept it or don't watch the movie, those people aren't the ones being hurt. The ones being hurt are the people below the line, and Hollywood has suffered because of it, and those people have suffered because of it. That's what this article, like, for lack of a better word, reeks of. It reeks of the fact that Hollywood has hurt these people. Hollywood, they've done, the business has done it to themselves. No one heard Hollywood outside of Hollywood,
and help regress all the things they were trying to push along, all the progressive things.
Yeah. There's through some of my colleagues, we've kind of coined the term that the last 15 years of Hollywood hasn't been Hollywood. It's been something that's identified as Hollywood, or what we like to call trans Hollywood. Because it's not, because again, you look at it based on the history of Hollywood, it's like, this is not Hollywood. This is not what we do. We make great movies. We try to make a lot of money. We also try to make people entertained, curious, and interested. And even if they do get disappointed with the movie, at least we took all the right steps in the effort to get their butts in the seats.
Yeah, this isn't greed. I miss the greed and the cocaine. Greed and cocaine gave us the best movies ever. This is possession by ideology that ignores fiduciary responsibility. I just like saying fiduciary, but sorry, script, continue.
No, but you're very much right. However, I think this is on the rise because regardless of your political beliefs, if what the incoming administration does what they hope to do, you're going to have essentially the goal of disposable income for people. Now, when a society is in prosperity, they invest in the arts. And that's what we haven't had for at least the last 10 years because the investment is been sucked up by one major studio, Disney. They've been leading the charge and saying this is what we want Hollywood to be and this is what we're doing, and it just has done nothing but do more harm than good. Now that there's on the down and out side of things, and that Universal and Sony, even though the Sony has not really changed, they've been able to sustain themselves, and Warner Brothers has changed gears significantly since. It looks like they're going to take it back, and the only thing we can hold hope for is that a lot of whatever cuts are being made and whatever changes and procedures are being made in bureaucracy, that has a trickle down effect to the states, because if they now have money to spend, what they'll do is they'll activate tax credits in their states. They will get production starting up there, not just for Hollywood, but for independents as well. You want everything. Every state has it. The goal would be that every state has the same opportunity that Atlanta gives to productions, because that brings people to their states. It brings people opportunity to express the art that they have and showcase. And just Dean Bateman is trying to do that on her own terms, which I applaud her for, because again, she's a common sense person. She doesn't care about the left or right stuff, at least so far that she's stating out on social media. But we have to cross our fingers and hope that this ends up being the result. It's not going to be an overnight success. It's going to be 2027, 2028 type of thing is when we'll probably see a final stability, if at all. And that all comes down to, are the studios going to be able to say, okay, we gave you a taste with this drug via streaming, and you have to wait only 4 weeks for a movie to come out. Well, we're going to say, no, we're not waiting 4 weeks anymore. We're waiting 6 months. We're waiting 7 months. We're waiting 8
They got to
months.
condense those streaming services down just by definition. They don't make money except for like 2 of them. So they just, please, dear God, just give us Max and other
They'll be
Netflix.
6 by the end of the day. That's basically what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, you're muted, sir.
I want to switch topics real quick. And we do have a new Captain America Brave New World trailer. We will react to it. But I want to get your opinion on this. Will the announced Star Wars projects ever happen?
None of
I
them.
have a list now.
It's the Culture Crave one.
insane. So
I'd be like a dozen.
we heard about the Simon Kinberg potential new trilogy. Here are all you can't even read it. Sorry, Badger. You cannot even.
No, I've read this. I know them by heart, unfortunately, and I can actually read it. Did you see the one that Simon Kinberg is considered a safe choice? The dude that comicbookmovie.com, who I would describe as a shill site, is calling for Kathy to be fired for this decision.
I mean, let me try to zoom in here and we can go down the list.
Yeah.
But it's Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy, is that episodes 10 through 12.
Writer and producer of
Who
all
knows?
3 films.
Mandalorian and Grogu, New Jedi Order, James Mangold, or no, that's the Daisy Ridley one with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. James Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi, Lando, Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie that wraps up all the Disney Plus Star Wars series, Taika Waititi's movie, John Levy's Star Wars movie, Rogue Squadron, Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movie, and Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy.
Nope.
Have all been announced.
Just waiting for him to finish the Glass Onion trilogy, and then he'll be doing it.
I'm just reading the titles. And to be clear, and Script, you know about this, studios are developing a lot of stuff. I've gone into offices where I've seen a wall of scripts, all with Sharpie on the side of the script written with a lot of this. I don't doubt that these are in development. What I doubt is that much of this, more than half, will never happen.
She's just waiting for a win, right, Chris? And then she can retire.
So
I've heard, although I did hear a rumor from a source, and don't make a whole video on this, that she would be leaving in March. That's what
that's her going on vacation.
It's like, yes, you could know. It's like someone's trying to convince me. No, I heard it. It's like, all right, well, whatever. We'll see.
The videos are already being made right now.
If it becomes true, clip me, but March was her, I guess, planned departure. But all of this stuff, it's a couple of these things will happen, but they tend to announce and then nothing happens.
Well, we know the Mandalorian is happening because we actually have footage, and they've actually made progress on it.
Will probably happen for sure.
Well, I want to hear what everybody thinks. Chime in, which
I just wish they would leave Daisy Ridley alone already, man.
Dante, you should start this. You should start this hashtag or whatever, because you said it last time. And I agree with this. They're only setting her up to be made fun of.
They are trolling this girl at this point.
She's doing press for her new movie, and they're all hounding her for updates. And she's like, "Well, there'll be an update soon." And that same day, Stephen Knight departed.
Yeah,
just let her go. Let her go.
The Simon Kinberg one. Aside from the fact that he's done some horrible movies, this is the exact thing we've said they should have done from day one. Get one damn person to write all 3. Now the only argument is, does this take place 10, 11, 12, or is this completely separate? Both Deadline and Hollywood Reporter were arguing because everyone has a source. Of course.
So now are all of these separate theater release, or is it some go to Disney Plus, some go to the theaters?
Oh, it's worse than that, Dante. This is unfortunately what's called the short list. So this is only what they've revealed versus what they're actually developing. And this is the stuff that they're hoping to reach their final destination with regards to completion. This looks like oversaturation to me, because where's the anticipation? Where's the excitement? The scarcity creates value, and there's no scarcity here, because this list, I think, is 10 titles, but more than 10 movies. Because
Bob even said they weren't going to do this.
But let's be realistic too. They're not, more than half of these aren't getting made.
Well, when was Ryan Johnson's announced?
2017.
It was during him doing Last Jedi.
The annotation.
People are getting announcement fatigue. Whenever they announce something, no one takes it seriously. There is no hype for it, because these projects, most of them, have just languished until they're forgotten, and then they announce something new, and then they're reminded of what they already announced that they never did anything with. So no one's taking it seriously.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna make a prediction. Everything under Mandalorian and Grogu is not happening.
Yeah, and we only know that's happening because they actually showed footage at the D23 that they
I
filmed.
think Dawn of the
Crazy.
Jedi might happen because it is sufficiently far enough away, and there is source material that they can steal from. I think that one might happen.
And when was Rogue Squadron announced? Because that was a while ago.
That was during
too, right?
Wonder Woman 3 when that was day and date.
Wasn't
And then
an
it was
Investor
announced it was
Day
canceled.
presentation?
But then she came back and said, no, they've asked me to work on it again. So as of the last time we heard from it, Patty says she's writing it.
Well, we know she's not working on Wonder Woman, so you know what? That might be
That's
true.
right. That is correct.
Honestly, who would want to seriously like work under these conditions? I mean, you could be doing other things, but you're basically just locked into this state of, I don't know, development hell before anything actually
Kathleen Kennedy
happens.
is leaving in February, according to Chris Gore.
She's leaving in March, actually.
Well,
Sorry.
that doesn't
So,
mean
breaking
anything.
news.
To the question as to why they keep doing these announcements, so that's because Disney pre-sells these films at film markets to get money for financing, to help them secure lines of credit. There's no other explanation for it at this point. And this also goes back to reinforcing how they've been overspending on these products so much that now they have to keep on producing more and more to try and make up and pay off the debt that they've incurred or the money lost from their productions. There's never, not even Marvel at its peak, announced 10 movies like this, 10 titles of this with over 16 movies in accordance. Every phase was like 6 movies ish that they'd pre-announced. Like, these are the titles we're going to do, and then they'd surprise you with a couple of others. Because again, at their peak, they did 3 movies a year, and that was pretty much it. That was your sweet spot for them. And then they went 1 movie with 4, and then the pandemic hit, and then we got what we got. At this point here, Disney has announced more things than have ever been produced. And the sad part is that the normies out there that aren't following this as closely, they think Star Wars has been kind of in dormancy since the Rise of Skywalker.
Chris, wasn't it your theory that Charmene just went to CNN and was like, yeah, I'm doing a movie?
No, my theory was the project was dead, and she decided on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve to go on CNN of her own accord. It wasn't official. She probably she probably used a personal publicist, went there to save the project, to publicly discuss it. But I just do feel sorry for Daisy Ridley. I saw her recently at a screening for The Young Woman and the Sea, and she's perfectly pleasant. I don't think, she doesn't go off attacking fans. I think she was done dirty. I think the whole cast, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and her, were done dirty by a terrible.
Boyega got it the worst. Boyega, he screamed Ray for 3 movies.
I don't think anyone blames the actors in that case. It was awful, but
well, we blamed them at first, but then we realized who was the real devil behind the scenes.
Deceived by a lie.
But I think when you look at the story. Oh, sorry, Elaine.
Well, Daisy Ridley was just announced to be attached to an entirely new project, like some sort of action thriller. I think that Casino Royale director is attached to that. So that just got announced like quite recently. So she's going to be doing that. So I don't know, and at least in the foreseeable future.
Well, Martin Campbell would be a good director for her because Martin Campbell, for the most part, makes really good movies. He saved Bond.
Find a writer first. We need to find someone that could get this down. If Stephen Knight couldn't do it because they noted him to death, I'm terrified of what they're trying to do.
Well, I'm talking about a different, like if Martin Campbell's doing his own movie, that's not Disney. He's got Daisy Ridley involved. That could be a good boost for Daisy career. That's what I was referring.
Yeah, but then this would undo it. Then this would undo anything good she's done. Like, bro, you need to get away from being Ray. Like, I don't think it's doing her any credit.
Well, but I will say this. I've seen several Daisy Ridley movies post Star Wars. None of them were very good. The Young Woman and the Sea is probably the best, and it's on Disney Plus. It's a great true story, but everything else has been forgettable, including the movie she executive produced and came up with the story, which was a movie called Magpie. We reviewed it a few weeks ago. I just don't think she's a box office draw. I mean, Harrison Ford, I think, still might have some kind of star power, but stars have been diminished, especially in light of the election and that turnout. And I don't want to belabor that, but
Yeah.
I don't want to belabor that, but stars aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
No, they've had to compete
what was
with
the
regular
last
people on social media.
what was the last theatrical Star Wars movie?
The Rise of Skywalker.
2019.
2019, 5 years
Right.
ago.
Which movie was that?
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
So that was
Palpatine.
before Solo, right?
That was
After-
after Solo.
Long
After
after
After Solo. So
Solo
okay.
came out the year before it.
And how well did it do in the box office?
Like a
Well,
billion.
Solo was a bomb.
No.
and-
I mean, the Rise of Skywalker.
Comparatively, it lost money compared to what it should.
Yeah,
have.
I mean,
Considering
This is
Force
like
Awakens
9-something.
made $2 billion.
Yeah.
And the last movie should have exceeded that. That was should have been the expectation, and it was $1 billion. I don't know, I can't remember.
So the reason why I asked is because I'm trying to determine the time frame of so we had Rise of Skywalker, then we
Solo is what made everything turn into a fucking television show. That because Boba Fett was supposed to be a
Sure.
movie, and then they ruined it, and then they turned it into The Mandalorian, and then Kenobi was going to be a movie, and it got turned into a television show.
but after Rise of Skywalker, there was a slew of just Disney Plus failures, right?
yes.
So I'm curious now. Can a Star Wars movie do anything in the box office at this point?
That'd
They
be
have
one
a
hell of
strong
a trilogy.
story, a strong concept, a strong vision. If they want to plan, and there's the audience is there. It's one of the most devoted and dedicated fan bases, but we've seen so much mediocre at best content, and if not just outright horrible. So just time and time again. But I think if they really had a strong visionary who loved the mythology and knew how to carry it out, on the film side of things, then I think they could succeed. But I don't think the current culture environment at Lucasfilm is conducive to that.
Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker made just over $1 billion. The problem is there's no excitement. The franchise is cold.
Well, we had a slew of failures right after that movie.
The only reason the sequels made the money they made was there was excitement about it, that people wanted a new Star Wars trilogy. That's not there anymore, and they're going to have to work for it if they're going to get to $1 billion.
And really, no stories have been told after Rise of Skywalker. All the stuff that comes out is all in between the trilogies and tries to avoid leading to this Palpatine trilogy.
I think Lucasfilm next theatrical release, and I'm not just being an asshole here, it's going to be a failure. I think it's going to fail hard in the box office.
Things could be true.
This will be the first, I guess, Star Wars proper film. I think that's going to fail.
But I'll say this: Star Wars fandom is still strong. In this, I don't mean the movies are good or the excitement is there, but my experience of the prequels, which at the time, I did not. We kind of they've actually gotten better in retrospect, but I will say at the time I didn't care about the movies. It was everything surrounding the movies. It was waiting in line with people. It was meeting at the bar after to talk about it. I loved everything about the prequel experience except the actual films, but everything about it. God, I remember being when Revenge of the Sith came out. I was on the roof of the parking structure next to the ArcLight Theater in Hollywood with an R2-D2 cooler filled with beer. And I met a bunch of people up there, all Star Wars fans. We were drinking, hanging out, having fun, and saw the film. And I mean, Revenge of the Sith, probably the best of the prequels, but still the whole experience of that was better than the movies. So I think if there's something Star Wars, maybe not having it in theaters is kind of, in a way, edging the fans and getting them excited for it. I don't want to be graphic, but that's...
Can I just say before we move on that I think
the
Mandalorian Grogu movie will happen. Filoni's movie will happen. The Charmin will probably get the axe, and then she'll end up in a trilogy with Kinberg, and we'll see whether that works, writing it all. I think the only other movie here that's going to work that might happen besides Dawn of the Jedi is Sean Levy's. It's just because he has clout to do it after Deadpool and Wolverine.
I would say I agree with you. I agree with you, Badger.
Mandalorian Grogu is going to be the litmus test to whether Star Wars has legs anymore.
It's a horrible name for a movie.
It's not in the Star Wars universe that the current one, but it says whether people are excited about this franchise at all anymore.
Yeah,
I think Patty's movie might make it as well, only because there's no way Kathleen Kennedy's not going to use her.
She can't fire Charmin and fire Patty. So she gets Patty going forward, and then she makes Rey star. She can get rid of Charmin. Just it didn't work out. She was a documentary.
There's no way that she's going to pass up on Patty Jenkins. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
Or they might just be frustrated working in this environment. I would be like, you're just languishing during this like development.
They go through a lot
They
of
could be
creators.
moving on to other projects like Stephen Knight is doing, who's moving on to Peaky Blinders. He made them a whole script, gave him a ton of notes, basically wanted him to rewrite it. And he's like, no, I've got other things to do that actually know how to carry out a production or in an orderly fashion.
Yeah. Turns out it's shockingly hard to write. Alan, let's say it's shockingly hard to write Luke giving all his story to someone else. Like it's hard to write Rey doing what Luke should have done and not have it feel hollow or stolen or alien.
Well, when I first fell in love with Star Wars, I look forward to the final, the 9 chapters where the granddaughter of the main villain of the series would be the surviving protagonist. I think we can all agree that was a good choice. So there you go. Let's see. Okay. Next topic, and we will get to your supers, and then we will talk Penguin. So just, so much to discuss today, including the Captain America Brave New World trailer reaction. I have not seen this.
Oh,
really?
Have you guys seen it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, okay, I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna be watching your face.
But I look forward to your reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thunderbolt
I'll be reacting, and we will discuss it on the back end. It's 2.5 minutes. Here we go. Ready, Alan? Okay.
You asked for me. Here I am.
What's up with that haircut, though?
Every time.
You want to help me? Is there anything you remember?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross.
Whatever this is, Cap, be careful. What do we know?
There were 5 shooters. This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.
I was a wartime general. Now I'm a wartime president. Your inner circle's been compromised. Let me fix it. Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
And his legs are broken.
Wait for it.
Ugh.
We're on
Hate
the
those
brink of
nano
war.
helmets.
I can't trust anyone.
Mexicano Falcon now.
Nothing about this feels right. Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
He doesn't have super
That's
strength.
not how it works.
Someone's been pulling the strings on everything. You're under arrest. I don't want a variable out there that I can't control. Stop! Captain America caught without his wings. You like to play dress up and blindly execute the state's orders.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
What if this is a trap? You don't even know what this is.
Since we were the grid.
So much money to do that.
You want me? Come and get me!
No.
He doesn't have superpowers.
3 to 4 reshoots. Giancarlo Esposito just said they're currently, it's probably just pickups and shit like that, but still, the fact that they're still reshooting it.
Yeah,
the impression
like
I
Rise
got
of
from
Skywalker all over again.
the impression I got from Giancarlo is that he didn't shoot anything with any of the principal cast, and that he was just being inserted into it by himself.
Because
they
they had to
even
change the
remember?
narrative.
Do they remember when Falcon was introduced and he's like running around, running laps, and Steve Rogers is literally like passing him so many times, not breaking a sweat, and he's like killing himself trying to keep up. That was his introduction, and now he's got the same abilities. It's
Now he's fighting
no
a Hulk.
consistency.
Yeah.
He's fighting a Hulk,
who
man.
apparently is a variation of Hulk and has not the invulnerability, so Sam is able to hurt him, but he would still be destroyed. I know vibranium can absorb shock, but not to this degree. I don't care if his ankles are wrapped in vibranium. The superhero landing would have shattered his.
Did he have like a bad knee or something? Like he's been through like 2 tours of in service, in military service. So he seemed like he was, on the nursing some injuries.
Anthony
so
Mackie's not
fine?
a leading man. It's I see Falcon on screen. I don't see Captain America.
Well, Falcon
And
is
Bucky
not a
should be
leading
here.
man.
No, Badger's
Yeah.
completely right. He's not a leading man. That's the biggest problem with this movie.
I sort of meant Anthony too. No offense. He's a very good actor, but I just don't think he's got the. It's the problem with Altered Carbon season 2. It's just.
Those nano helmets, I hate them so much.
Yes.
You just press a button, it shows up in your
someone
face. It's kinda
pointed out
lame.
he can't fly.
You know what?
Fast
I had an idea.
without-
I was like, instead of going this whole Red Hulk route, why didn't they just combine the Thunderbolts and Captain America into one movie?
Yeah, makes
Right?
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Captain America versus the Thunderbolts, or something along
Because
those lines.
they wanted a
that would
Suicide
that would
Squad.
have been a better movie.
And they wanted a Winter Soldier movie. And now this looks like the most generic Winter Soldier movie ever. And we're going to get a generic Suicide Squad with Thunderbolts. Asterisks.
Do people remember that one character from what's this, Isaiah? Like the first guy you see?
So basically, for any of you people that are fans of that actor,
yeah.
you could just think of this as a very, very long overdue Mantis sequel, because that actor played Mantis from the Sam Raimi show.
Bro, that's Carl Lumbly.
That was a great show, man.
That's Martian Manhunter in all of the Justice League animated. He's a beloved actor and he's an Alias and all that. So it's like, it's not him. It's never the actors. It's just the story and what they're doing.
He's got that great
character, though,
haircut.
From
Yeah, and if you
Falcon
watch
and Winter Soldier,
Bucky and the Winter Soldier, or whatever, Winter Soldier and Falcon, the TV show, the homework, he was an original Captain America that was experimented on with the super soldier serum.
I will
It's a
say,
CG type.
I will say with this new trailer, it does. They're kind of positioning it away from being a superhero film. It looks more like a thriller or a political thriller, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to reposition it. But I still don't get when I see like Sam Wilson like drop in the suit on his knees and do the superhero pose when he hits the ground, his legs would be broken. Like,
not only
are
that,
they going to explain any of this? He runs not in a suit. He's in basically just, a blazer, runs out the White House through a window. If any of us did that,
Well, that guy
we'd be
had
in the
super
hospital.
soldier serum.
No,
that was Isaiah Bradley. He was technically the first Captain America.
But I'm watching this going like, he just explain it to me, make it make sense so I can believe it. There was a believability to Chris Evans as Steve Rogers as Captain America. They all have their limits and their abilities. And when that's not clearly defined, you lose all reality. So
it also doesn't help when you use YouTube special effects on that landing. Like the whole landing on the knee stuff, that was invented on YouTube just for people experimenting with how to do it. And now a studio as big as Disney is throwing that in their essentially blockbuster level production. It's sad, it's lazy, it's boring, it's dumb, especially when they do the landing and they like break the concrete underneath their feet. It's like Superman wouldn't do that, but Captain America wouldn't do that. Iron Man wouldn't do that. They don't care about that part. It's not about
Superman goes around property damaging everything. Like,
yes, it's just so silly.
No, like even Spider-Man makes a deal of notating that like his webs dissolve. He doesn't go around defacing property. Like, superheroes pay attention.
Well, it just shows too that they don't understand the characters that they have, man. They don't understand them.
It's a Winter Soldier copy.
It's like when we got Ant-Man beating Kang.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened in comics? Because it's impossible for Ant-Man to beat Kang. But here we go, especially when he couldn't even use his powers. Remember, Kang didn't lose to Ant-Man. He lost to what's his name? The actor who plays him.
Paul Rudd?
He lost to Paul Rudd because Paul Rudd couldn't use his power, right? So we have Kang, the baddest of the bad, losing to Ant-Man.
Scott Lang, yeah.
Scott Lang. And this is what I mean by they don't understand their characters. In what world does Anthony Mackie go up against the Hulk and live?
Exactly.
Exactly. We should be on the edge of our seat wondering how the hell is he going to survive this?
Steve Rogers would have gotten beaten up.
Yeah.
People already posted the comics of Captain America. Captain America does not last a little bit longer than 38 seconds, but he does not last long against the Hulk because
Wolverine got his ass kicked against the Hulk.
Exactly, gets ripped in half. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have some realism in there. It's what makes us invested.
Verisimilitude.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to your comments.
Stop spending money on this movie.
We're gonna go to your comments, but we have Alan. If you would bring up this story, for some reason I'm not having a problem. There are some updates at D23 in Brazil, direct from Kevin Feige about Marvel, and some of those updates include Miles Morales will be introduced in the MCU. There are a couple other things from the story. Alan, could you bring that up if you wouldn't mind?
Yes.
There's a link in the document there,
right
but I'm having problems on my end here.
This is actually from IGN.
Oh, sorry about that. Could you zoom in and Badger, if you would give it a read? But it's basically update on Blade, Scarlet Witch's future, and when Miles. It's a when, not an if. When Miles Morales will be introduced in the MCU. There you go.
I don't care if he's too old. Get that kid that plays Vic Aguilar on Penguin. I'll watch him as Miles Morales if I have to have a Miles Morales.
He's probably too old, but I got to say that actor's amazing. We'll talk about him later. But
Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige has issued a number of somewhat vague but tantalizing updates on various MIA MCU projects and characters at D23 Brazil. The same event that showcased new Thunderbolt and Captain America Brave New World trailers. Let's start with Marvel's Troubled Blade film, which Disney recently delayed from its announced November 2025 release date into some to-be-announced release date. The delay to Blade came as little surprise given the behind-the-scenes drama it has suffered. In June, news surfaced that the director Jan Demange had left the project, which we'll see Mahershala Ali portray the titular vampire slayer should it eventually get off the ground and into production. Demange's departure was the second time someone had vacated the director's chair, as Basim Tariq previously relinquished the role because of a scheduling conflict, or scheduling, I've heard it both ways, that came to light before the movie was due to begin shooting. A report at the time claimed that Ali was frustrated with the movie's progress, with production grinding to a halt shortly after.
Scroll down, Alan.
Yeah.
Alan?
So, yeah.
If you scroll up a little bit is where Feige said it, but I think
Yeah,
doesn't he basically say it at one point? So at one point, Blade will be coming out. They just can't do it yet. So according to Feige, Mahershala Ali's Blade is still coming out eventually.
Well, it's a minor update, but what do we think of this in light of Captain America Brave New World will be out in February? We all kind of think that. Is there anything more, Alan?
Yeah, you want to talk about Miles Morales?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm
sorry. Okay, it's all good.
Well, Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Feige was more definitive, insisting that shortly after the third Spider-Verse movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, comes out, Miles will make his debut in the live-action MCU. Miles will appear in the third Spider-Verse, which is currently in production. I hope that shortly after that, he can enter the MCU in live action. And then it goes on to talk about Into the Spider-Verse, or Beyond the Spider-Verse, rather, not even coming out until 2027. The plan is always to get rid of Peter Parker and have Miles be the main Spider-Man so they don't have to
pay Steve
Dixon. Then here's an X-Men comment right here. And finally.
At the top.
Finally, Feige has hinted that it may also be sometime before the X-Men make their long-awaited full-blown entry into the MCU. The future following Secret Wars. When we were preparing for Avengers Endgame years ago, it was a question of getting to the grand finale of our narrative, and then we had to start all over again after that. This time on the road to Secret Wars, we already know very well what the story is going to be until then, and afterwards, the X-Men... You okay, Dante? And afterwards, the X-Men are an important part of that. He's very upset that the X-Men aren't going to show up. And guess what? No Wolverine, because Hugh Jackman will be playing Wolverine till he's 90.
Yeah, I predict Secret Wars is going to be everything Marvel up to that point. After that reboot, X-Men will be post Secret Wars. It's just
correct.
It's
I think
logical.
that's what they're going to do.
That's logical. Any other comments from people on this?
No one's excited about Miles Morales.
Yeah, and the question is, will Sony capitulate with a
honest.
contract? Will Sony capitulate with a contract for Miles Morales to be in the MCU, because that's they have the film rights to that character, and if the Spider-Verse movies are doing well, they might not want to share that.
Do they? I thought that was the stipulation, that they don't have that. They only have Peter Parker Spider-Man.
No, they have the Sony agreement is Spider-Man license they have, and that's all the Spider-Man debuted characters. So any character that debuted in the Spider-Man series up to and including Miles Morales is technically still under Sony.
Yeah, here's the thing I know about studios: they like money.
They do,
and they will make a deal if it means they'll make money.
I like
Miles maybe except for Lucasfilm. I don't know.
But so far, like they've made the latest Spider-Verse movie made Sony a lot of money without Disney's help. That's the question. Is now they get to keep all that money. So do they want to risk having to split that money with Miles Morales in the same agreement that they do with Peter Parker?
So would they be willing to risk not making any money versus money by doing a deal with Disney?
Well, the thing is, but they are making money with Miles. That's the problem, right?
But not as a live action. That's the thing.
That's true, but they don't have to go there yet. It's all up in the air. Sony has got is the one obstacle from Disney having all of the MCU under one banner.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, if you're going to give Miles Morales to Marvel Studios, and you're going to sit back and make money off of that without risking anything, that seems to be the choices you have, rather than risking yourself making the movie and it failing and then you incurring all the losses.
Well, and also, I don't know how well Sony is doing as a company, so they're going to make a deal.
Well, their video
might make a deal. The one thing that Sony's doing well is that they don't blow as much money on their films as compared to other studios. Like Tom Rothman is legendarily cheap. Like that's just it. And he also makes sure that when movies are heading into their distribution, they're already paid for, and everything else that comes from that is pure profit.
And he was part of that article that mentioned the stagnation and how the executives are essentially my age that feel stagnated because all these people don't retire and they don't greenlight anything that would buck the trend or anything. I just say for Spider-Man, the game, now granted, a lot of this probably has to do with the involvement of Sweet Baby Inc., but that first Spider-Man game from Insomniac sold 22 million units. And then we had a Miles Morales spinoff where he was the star. It was very likable, but of course, even as a spinoff, it didn't make as much. And then that second Spider-Man, where you could play as both, sold half as much as the first one, only 11 million units. So it turns out people just want to play as Peter Parker Spider-Man. So even though Miles makes money for them in these cartoons, I would suggest that if those were Peter Parker cartoons of the same quality, it would be making even more money.
I mean, how can we trust anything they say when they can't even get a Blade movie done? So now they're trying to get Miles Morales is the new announcement thing. And again, I just feel the same. I don't have superhero fatigue. I have announcement fatigue. Just
Yes.
make the movie and just shut up and make the movie.
Well, the impression you got from
be the
Blade was
announcement
that Marvel wants to make a Blade movie, and yet it feels like they have no plan to make a Blade movie.
Because there's no place for him right now. They waited too long, and now they have to wrap up this dumb multiverse Doom shit, and you have to wait until the timeline reset.
Well, and they have to keep saying it, right? They have to keep saying Blade is coming because, they can't cancel a movie based on a black superhero right now. So, but
Except
we all
for
know in our
Captain
show-
America.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to lose on that one. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot, and we are going to go to your comments, and then we are talking Penguin. I promise, we're talking Penguin. So, but we do have a lot of comments. Let's get to them right here. Wait, before we do, Alan has something to say.
Fucking go.
I thought,
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Why do you?
I want you to hit me as hard as you can. What?
You Edward Norton in that? What are you doing? All right, comments. Here we go, folks.
Malik Gurley for 2. This finale was too much, too effing much.
Love that.
Mexican Iron Man gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Thank you,
Shout
Mike. Appreciate it. New members, check out our members only videos.
Red French Moon for 2. Hail panel. Chris, was the Kentucky bourbon good?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And there were dark chocolate and Kentucky bourbon. I don't know. Steph will tell me if they're any good. Are they good, Steph? Let me know. Okay.
Matthian 450 Hail Panel, what do you think of the lore of Terrifier? Will Art be as eternal as Freddy, Jason, and Michael? Yeah, this is what I asked when you guys were loving it.
Yeah.
Is he like a Freddy type spirit guy?
Yeah, there is for those who have not seen Terrifier, close your ears, but there's a implication, there is a portal to another dimension world. It's not defined, but it's very dreamlike or spiritual. I like it. I think Art the Clown is like Freddy. He's a horror icon, just straight up. Art the Clown is a horror icon.
By the way, I saw Boondock Saints last night, and they showed us a trailer to Steamboat Willie.
Yes.
Yeah, and not only that, it looks like it was supposed to come out like right after the copyright ended. It looks like they got some money to make Steamboat Willie, and so I'm excited about that one.
Well, Terrifier 3, the budget was $2 million. That's not nothing. You can make a decent film for that. So yeah, I think I like the lore, but we don't know it all. We don't know all the rules. So I'm hoping they don't. I don't like when lore is over explained. Elaine probably has more opinions on that than I, but when you over explain things, you get stuff like midichlorians, right? But if you keep certain things mysterious, that I enjoy. So
you know what? I can answer this. I think that Art is a great character, a very good character. He'll never reach Freddy and Jason as far as legendary horror characters. There's no way.
It's basically Freddy for a new generation. So
do you think Jigsaw has reached that level, Dante? Because he seems pretty popular as a pop culture.
Jigsaw. No, so there's tiers, man. There's tiers. Right. Is Jigsaw up there with Freddy and Jason? No. Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers is like the trinity of slasher, and then everybody else kind of falls somewhere under.
Yeah, I think that's just what
that would require a big studio taking over the Terrifier series and then pushing out sequel after sequel after sequel after sequel. and I don't know that is necessarily the direction you want to go with it.
I, for one, would like to see an Avengers Endgame like film with all the horror icons.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
Jason, Freddy, Michael,
Freddy X Jason wasn't good enough for you.
Everybody, I want them all in one movie.
Predator versus Alien wasn't good enough for you.
That's what AI is for, Chris. You could tell the AI and they'll make it for you. Graph Web for 2. For brothers that didn't make it back, Simplify.
You need to
Simplify, do or die, bro. Graph Web for 2. In the name of all that is holy, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. All right, Film Threat, Rumble Rant for 1. Bija Kasai. Film Threat, friends and family. I got to see one of my favorite movies on the big screen last week, and Troy Duffy's talk at the end was fantastic. Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Andrew Cram gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Rozzy for 149 gifted a super sticker. I'm going to guess it was a rose, even though I can't see on the stream.
Thanks, Rozzy. Thanks.
And there's the rainbow and the badge. Thank you for 2, Rossi. My sweet short king.
What does that mean?
That I'm gay.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Andrew Cram for a member for 9 months. I would like Disney to stop making content until they have a handle on the IP to create something amazing. We would all like that, Mr. Cram.
Well, when Elon Musk buys Disney and does his purge.
When he
Andrew Cram for 5. If we are talking Star Wars, I would like to see a reboot of the OG series starring legacy characters, specifically Luke, Leia, and Hans. Well, when heaven cracks open and Gary is right, because that's what he says will be the end is when they remake the original series.
Yeah. Here's a little taste of it.
Who are your people?
I don't have people. I'm alone.
Solo.
Brilliant.
You were solo there, Alan.
Rossi for 2. KK got an extension till Celebration in June. Japan 100. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Lord Comet for 2. Afternoon, CG Chris Gore. I am now here. Star Wars stuff make me go meh. Star Wars.
Don't worry. We're done talking about it.
Lord Comet for 2. There's only one cap, and this dude ain't it. Sorry. Andrew Cram for 5. So does this Captain America have the super serum, superpower? He doesn't have the super serum. He's got the power of a black man.
I'm told he does not. And there's even a subplot of whether or not he will take it. And he doesn't. Just
Oilers Workshop for $4.99. Someone tell Rob that the Penguin is just as good as Return of the Jedi. Yes, please trigger him.
Good one. Rob's not here.
It's his birthday. It's his birthday. If he wants to call out, he's more than able to do that.
Yeah.
A Serious Man member for 8 months. Skriat Punisher debuted in Amazing Spider-Man.
Hey, thanks, Serious
yeah.
Man.
Punisher film rights were sold before Spider-Man film rights because Dolph Lundgren played the Punisher in the late 80s. So that is why Punisher is not associated with that Sony Spider-Man film rights deal.
All right. Spidey Sensei for 7210. Badger told the whole story. Spidey 2 was a PS5 exclusive, so if you didn't have the new console, you couldn't play it. So of course that affected overall sales. Okay. There's the whole story. Thank you, Spidey. Matheon for 50. Maxine came out this fall, but kind of passed under the radar. Franchise was going strong after Pearl, but now kind of fizzled out.
Maxine was not good.
It was good. It wasn't the best of that series. I think that was Pearl. But I'll say that this has been a great year for horror. There's a lot of competition for horror. I mean, it has been a stellar year. We looked at, what was the list on Rotten Tomatoes, the 50 best horror films this year. I mean, horror is a very safe genre, and we've seen some really great stuff. So, but let's
I just saw Longlegs, and the video interview with Nicolas Cage is on the member channel on YouTube.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Longlegs. Alan went to a special Longlegs screening, and thank you, Alan, for posting the Q&A. That's awesome. So if you're a new member, check out our member videos. Now it's time to talk Penguin. So let's do that.
It's showtime.
Okay, and let's be spoiler free for the first part of this discussion. My overall impression, and I want to hear from everyone who watched the finale, is this is not just a great show affiliated with a comic book property. This is a great TV show for people who don't care about Batman or comic books or whatever. Colin Farrell, if he does not get an Emmy and win, will be like that it'll be a travesty.
I know they don't count, but they sort of count on this one. He's really good.
From such a stellar cast, making me care about characters I wouldn't think I cared about, with this mob war that goes beyond. I mean, it's heads and tails above Sopranos, in my opinion.
It turns into something completely different than Sopranos.
Very different. It's very different. And that finale was heartbreaking. We're not talking spoilers now, but let me just say the finale was heartbreaking. You saw, it wasn't just, we were talking about it before we went live. It's not just one of those, oh, I understand why the villain is the villain. I see his side of the story, or her side. Whatever. He is straight up a horrible human being.
Well, it is that though, Chris, right? But that's the problem. We do understand his side of the story. We do see it, and it's not pleasant to see. Turns out all these people are horrible. That's all I'll say. Spoiler free. Everyone is horrible.
Yeah. I've got something to say after we talk spoilers, but this is one of the best TV shows of the year. I plan to watch it through again. They do these things at the end of the show where they go, and let's talk more about the show. And they do like a little 10-minute. I'm going to watch those after, but I'm telling you, there are going to be tons of Emmy noms for this thing. And what this show does is it throws down the gauntlet for superhero content, right? Disney has been churning out garbage on Disney Plus when it comes to superheroes, in my opinion. Okay. This shows the height you can reach. I think Chris Nolan really sort of like showed how it could be done with The Dark Knight. It was like, oh, wait, a superhero property can reach levels where it goes beyond being something superhero, right? and this does the same thing. There is no excuse that other shows could not be, at least aspire to be, something like this. I was blown away. I'm dying to see it again. Like, and so many heartbreaking moments I don't want to ruin. Who else saw the finale and would like to comment broadly before we go spoilers?
I did. And you know what? This is going to sound really weird. I almost equate the Penguin to the first season of Cobra Kai for me. And I say that because the Penguin, this show shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have worked, right? If you'd have told me a year ago that a show about the Penguin based off of Matt Reeves' The Batman was going to be the best show of the year, I would have laughed you out the room, right? Just like back in the day when Cobra Kai came out and you told me they were going to make a spin-off show about Johnny Lawrence, 30 years after the movie was made, and it was going to be a hit show, I would have said you were nuts. And I was blown away, man. This show for me was like, it kind of like revived my love of TV. It kind of, I can't say enough good things about it. Like, I really can't. Like, and I'm not simping, I'm not blowing smoke. Like, this is literally the best show on TV right now. And the way that they ended this, man, and we're not going to talk about spoilers yet, but I will say this. We as much as they compare it to the Sopranos and other mob things, I felt like, yeah, there were elements of that, but we still got Gotham in this. Like, Gotham City was still relevant and present in this show, man. And to see us get the Penguin at the end of this episode, and they did it in the most genuine way. I hands down, probably one of the
top hat somewhere. We saw a top hat.
Yes, it's in my top 3 favorite shows probably for the past couple of years, if I'm being honest.
The look was modeled on the first appearance of the Penguin in the comics. Like, there are so many, there's such attention to detail.
It looks like Arkhamverse Penguin, which I think that might have also been by design. In fact, I thought they were going to do one very specific thing that they didn't, but
Yeah, speaking broadly, I don't remember. It's comparable to Daredevil to me as far as this kind of genre television shows. Like, I'm trying to think of the last good show in this genre that I really enjoyed, and I think it's up there with that. The great character work, just every detail, every department is working so well. You can tell they're passionate about the character, all the characters and performances. Yeah, all Emmys all around, in particular Colin Farrell and the makeup team. You could see wrinkles and pores, his skin pores. Like, that's amazing to me. Like, he disappeared in this role again and in a new way. And it accomplished what shows like this should accomplish, these like spinoffs. It should only enrich and expand in a meaningful way to this particular saga, which is the Batman. And now I'm like super excited for the next chapter in the film. They did so much work to establish the criminal underground that it makes the stakes and the tension and the drama in the next film like way up there. Just makes me so hyped for that. So that's what all these should accomplish. Yeah.
Going into.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Matt Reeves is writing the second Batman movie, and I thought the first one was probably one of the worst Batman movies ever made because it was retreading a lot of stuff and went way off course. But I will agree with all of you. The acting in this is superb. I especially love the little kid that plays young Oz. Like, I feel like I've seen that actor in a dozen other things before, decades earlier, because they always have that one kid with the dark hair can just do that accent, kind of chubby, and appease to like with last week's episode, not the one that just happened the week before, where you're like, yeah, man, Ma, I love you. I'll do whatever I can for you. I'm the doting son. I'm like, I like that character. I like that actor. I liked his story in that part there. I will say this, props to the team. Because this show was technically shot twice. They shot the first third of it, and then they had to go back and rewrite and redo a whole lot prior to the writer's strike. So they managed to actually pull off something pretty fantastic here. I have apprehensions that the quality is going to carry over onto the Batman 2, because Matt Reeves was distant for this production. He was there in name only. It was all the showrunners and the cast and the crew pulling every single string they can to try and get this thing to work. And my hat is off to them. That is amazing.
Matt Reeves wasn't involved. I thought he was. This was his concept.
It was
It's
part
his
of the
idea, but
overall
then he
structure
stepped
of
away
it.
from it, and it was basically the showrunners making a run for it.
They should have these people
I
write
heard that.
the Batman. I actually, truthfully, I would like to see a Batman TV series with season-long arcs. And what you could do is, because here's the thing with modern TV these days, which the gaps between seasons are enormous and kill the momentum. What I'd love to see is a Batman TV show where every year we get a Batman, series, right? And then when that ends, you tell the story of a villain, a mini series like a Penguin, Joker, Riddler. Think of the stories you could tell about the Gotham's rogue gallery of villains. You could just do Batman, and have villains in between seasons. You don't wait a year or two. The year wait is another villain where we get deeper layers. I just think it's so crazy. There hasn't been a Batman TV series since 1966. It seems like a dumb decision. And then when you put all this money into multi-$100 million Batman films, I don't think you need to do that. With what first of all, HBO is so good at making TV. They're the ones, if they're going to do an adult Batman series, have HBO do it.
Yeah, but then you can't do half of his rogues. Can't even do a third of his rogues gallery because you can't start becoming fantastical and too over the top for what.
Yeah,
Matt's
like Poison
doing.
Ivy, Clayface. You can't do.
Or you can do them in a version that I don't really want to see street grounded.
I'll tell you how you make it work. Have you seen the Gotham 1919 through 1939 hardcover book?
Yeah,
that's how you do it. That is how you do it. So I could bring that up and I'll show you.
But isn't this why they delayed? They were going to have an Arkham Asylum, and I know they say it's in whatever transition, it's evolving, but it was going to be in the Matt Reeves, and then they said it in the DCU because that's where you can accurately do these characters, make Clayface, and so on and so forth.
Yep. They also got rid of the Gotham City PD, and now I will tell you this, Chris, with all their efforts, if they try to do a Batman TV series, it's going to be more like the Gotham on Fox. Than it would be something of Batman, and you don't want that because it's a really hard thing to balance and get right. It's really, really hard.
I thought I read somewhere that Matt Reeves originally pitched it as a TV series. The Batman Year 2 is what it was called, or maybe I'm misremembering.
No, then they said no, do that, keep that. That basically it was like that juice needs to stay for the movies, but all these other characters that we are good, but we would never give a movie to, you can have a television show, and we got the Penguin, and they proved they can do it.
Here,
they were also going to do the GCPD movie, or
but that was supposed to be that 70s show that Script just mentioned. There was supposed to be like a corrupt Gotham PD in the 70s, and that got evolved into I think still happening. It's just I don't know which universe it's in now.
Let me explain what this is. Giant Panda King. Go to giantpandaking.com and look up 1939. Formerly known as Gotham 1919-1939. I have promoted this book before. We've interviewed the creator, Russell Beatty, on our show. He did a Batman burlesque show, which was a lot of fun. Anyways, here's his book where he basically goes through all the different Batman villains. I mean, there's the Penguin, and sets the story in the Prohibition era gangster 1920s for 20 years, telling the story of Batman, including fantastical characters. I'm scrolling through it right now, but
Two-Face would be a good one. You could do that, Matt Reeves.
If you don't have this book, get it now because DC has tried to suppress it. But it is a historical telling of this crazy era in Gotham City when crime was rampant. Mr. Freeze is in it. Like, look at this. I'm scrolling through, but it treats Batman as a serious thing that actually happened and telling like the historical telling of this crazy era in Gotham City history. So seek out this book. It's so good. And it makes it real. It gives it that verisimilitude. So giantpandaking.com. Shout out to her friend, Russell Beatty. That's how you do it. So it's
a really cool book, man.
It's a great book. I mean, Dante, you were with us when we went to that event. It was awesome. Let's talk spoilers now. Most heartbreaking moment. So everyone watching, we are in spoiler territory. We'll try to keep it light spoilers. Any spoilers you'd like to discuss, now is the time.
Can I just
And
go
I
first?
have,
Because I think I'm the only one that
go.
didn't like stuff. 'Cause everyone else
Okay,
loved it.
let's go.
Okay. Just the two things. I'm fine with where we got to. I just don't like some of the ways of how we got there. I don't want anyone that ever complained about the Riddler being an incel to be complaining about the fact, or be fine with the fact that they basically turned Penguin into someone who did want to fuck his mom. I thought he was just a mama's boy. No, it's a full-on complex, as
Oedipus,
confirmed. Yeah. Oedipus, thank you. As confirmed by the end, where he has his girlfriend dress up like his mommy.
Yeah, that was
the
weird.
Other one,
that was
Yeah,
weird
that
for
was
me.
weird.
we all knew Vic was going to die. If it was 100% that Vic knew what happened with his brothers and his mom and all that, I would have been fine with it. But I've seen this done in Star Wars, where Malgus the Sith has to kill his girlfriend because he learns it's a vulnerability and he shouldn't have those weaknesses. I just thought that, if anything, Penguin just learned that connection is what got all his boys to stand behind him and turn against Sophia. And that was just not the lesson learned from that. But whatever, I'm fine with where we ended up at. But a couple of those little things, it's like, all right. And also, it makes me not like the mom now that she knew the entire time.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to go that route. Honestly, I thought it was going to be where he just fesses up, and
I thought
she
that.
finds out that way. But
Yeah, exactly.
the fact that she always knew.
I
But
don't like
you know
that.
what though? It lends itself to everybody in the show is corrupt.
Yeah.
Everybody in the show is awful on some level. Even Vic, Vic had a level
They're
of
not wrong.
awfulness inside of him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. For me, I love the scene where they're tied up, and she's trying to get Penguin to confess, and at that point you realize what a sociopath he is, because in his mind, I think he really believed he didn't do it. Like he didn't.
It's not a
kill his
lie
brothers.
if you believe it.
Right, but he took that to the next level, right?
Yes.
Like he was willing to let his mom get her finger cut off because of the lie.
Because it's not him, right? It's that whatever weird promise that he made as a kid, and it's whatever version in his head is.
Well, and
her, not her.
The thing with the mom knowing, that scene, or just that knowledge of it, was very interesting. It's just incredible character work, I think. But when I look back at the whole episode, I think it was just establishing how insidious he is and how much of a manipulator he is, even as a child. Because I think what convinced her to not kill him, have him killed, was, as the child, that performance of him like kind of saying how much he loves her, he's going to take care of her, how much she's underappreciated. It, even as a child, like he knew how to get into someone's head, know their weaknesses and how to manipulate them. So I thought that just speaks to how insidious he was, even then, that she was okay with it, that he got her to be okay with it, and that's what led to this situation now. And same thing with Vic. He knew how he ticked, or whatever. He knows how other people tick and how to use that against them in a way that they can't even recognize it at the time until it's too late.
I liked the illusion. I know in the comics he 100% kills his brother, and it's way more over. I sort of like the illusion that he just wanted time with his mom, and then by the time he went back, they were drowned. But they just make it so over. Yeah, he's evil, and I sort of like it being like, he's complicated. Now he's not really complicated. He's just evil. Everyone is evil. And it's like,
thank you for making bad guys bad again. Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I sort of like where you can have a shred, but still do. In other words, let me rephrase it a different way. There's no excuse now for Batman letting him go on. Like, there was always that shred that he maintained an air of, I don't know. Something about it I don't like.
He lost his plausible deniability. I'll put it to you that way.
That works for me. Yeah.
Because I really did enjoy that tied up scene, but what kind of sucked all the wind out of its sails for me was the 10-minute flashback beforehand, because I think you could have taken that flashback, cut it up, and then peppered it after the fact, because I wanted that scene with Fran saying, I knew the whole time, be the cathartic surprise of like, whoa, what? Because we just got shown that and told that, and then we're shown it and told it again, and it just felt like sloppy to me. But I really liked that performance because you could have ended, instead of having him dance with his girlfriend posing as his mom, you could have ended it with that speech of him as a kid telling his mother right after you kind of get the idea that, he's going to send her, she's going to send him directs to be killed. And he does this. And you're like, that's your ending moment. And then you come back to him just staring out, and you have the bat signal debut, all that type of stuff.
I
Didn't
totally
fill me
get
with
that.
excitement when that happened. It was
But
like,
I
oh,
also
now
think
he's there. Sorry.
I think the huge revelation, though, for me, that of what really struck me, though, wasn't the fact that she knew. It was how he actually didn't care about his mother. When you think
Right.
about it, like it seemed all this time that he was doing everything for her specifically, but no, it's like he has this weird psychosis where it doesn't matter what she wants in the end. But she's attached to what his aspirations in that way, but it's all about his aspirations and what he wants, and she's just involved in that way. But ultimately he doesn't care what she wants, as was a huge testament at the very end when she's just like locked in her body, what she didn't want,
right?
but it was all about him, and so that was the biggest revelation there for me. But I get what you're saying, Script, that it could have been more dramatic if they revealed that later. But
well, they both won,
yeah.
but they lost, but they lost, but they won. So Sophia lost, but then she won in the end because she gets, spoiler, Catwoman sends her a letter. So she ends smiling. He won, but he lost because he can't have any sort of validation. She's strapped. And so he ends sort of like, yeah, I won. Great. And then, of course, the bat signal pops up to remind him that he hadn't won shit because Batman's still. Apparently, now that's my biggest gripe now of the whole series. I did not need to see the signal or Batman, but I am upset that no one, all that air of fear that's set up in the first movie that, like, bro, people are afraid, that it's not even mentioned in the movie or the show.
Okay, one thing I did want, and to your point, I was hoping that we would at least hear a news story that Bruce Wayne was busy with like philanthropic efforts of like, so that would make sense to me as to why he's not. There's this huge gang war going on in this part of the city, so that's kind of a plot hole there. Yeah, just a little bit of that. That signal was fine for me at the end because actually at that point I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for the Batman to kick some
something
butt.
blew up in Crown Point. We need Batman to investigate.
Yeah, no, but other than that, it's a good show. I'm not shitting on the show. It's great. I'm just saying for me personally, there were two decisions that I wish had been ever so slightly different. But yes, that is a nitpick.
Yeah,
it
I
has its
agree with the
flaws,
fact
but-
that I kind of wish that at least some knowledge of or acknowledgement of the Batman or Bruce Wayne like sprinkled throughout the show would have helped. Like, yeah, they could have easily just said, hey, guess what? This whole time, Bruce has been overseas taking care of business for Wayne Enterprises, blah, blah, blah. So that explains why he's not there. That explains why things are happening in his city.
You don't even have to do that. Penguin goes down to City Hall and we get a glimpse of the mayor says, we need more resources. And someone could be like, hi, I'm here from the Wayne Foundation at behest of Bruce Wayne. Like that's all you need, because that's why else have that scene there. Oh, we need more resources.
So there's a political comic inside the show that someone like the newspaper that shows like the bat signal, and then it's been weeks now indicating that he hasn't shown up. But then the only way we know anything is Matt Reeves saying that he's going through a transitional period. We don't know what that means, like upgrading his costume, whatever. But yeah, you should have shown that since the last movie he learned he needs to be Bruce Wayne, and that Bruce Wayne new fund or whatever. That's all I needed. Which part?
Yeah,
But man, it's just as far as like all the performances in this last episode, man, it was, and like Chris said, it was heartbreaking, man. The whole thing with Vic was
tragic.
You knew it was coming.
He's not Zaz. No, everyone thought he was gonna be a serial killer.
Vic was the worst, I think, for me, because he was so built up. He had purpose in life. We saw his character evolve through the series, and the way that it was such a personal, the way he was taken out was so personal. It wasn't with like it was horrifying.
Do you believe the theory that it wasn't until he said your family? It wasn't until he was going to leave him. He was going to walk away from that whole thing. It wasn't until he said you're like family, and he went, "Oh Jesus!" Right then he made the decision to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see it again, but
I think he planned it. At that point, he's like has political aspirations, so he's moving in a new phase of his plan, ultimate plan. I don't know. I think the fact that they went to the park by itself and it's secluded and it made it look like a mugging. I think
he let him finish drink.
That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good opinion.
He's just evil, though. That's what's downright. Evil. Thank you for making him evil that we root against, and we root for the Batman to defeat him. So that's great.
But I like how they established in the episode before that he callously let his brothers die.
Yeah,
like he had no remorse whatsoever.
Yeah,
and that should have been foreshadowing to his relationship with Vic, right? I mean, he doesn't really care.
He's so damn likable even through all that prosthetic, he's so damn likable and emotive as a person that you want to root for him.
Yeah, that's part of his
Well,
I don't know.
The entire angle of what Penguin's been doing in this whole show is that he's saying he's the victim who's fighting against the other people. He's the guy that's always been overlooked, and that was his angle for getting everybody else to do, the ending of The Godfather on everybody else. Essentially, what that was. As I've said previously on this show, I do like the acting, but I will say plot wise, there's a lot of convolution in this that things just happen to work out for Penguin, regardless of his actual guile or his own sinister nature.
Physically the worst way.
Yeah.
Like he beat Maroney, but Maroney died of a heart attack, so he didn't really get the benefit of killing him. It was like, and he did this, but he didn't really because this. So they blue balled him at every moment.
I felt it was really funny the way that he died of a heart attack, like right there, but he still had to I got you. Like it was oh God, so good. Now,
I mean, you're playing into the pathetic aspect of the Penguin, but you're also doing it at the expense of him being a sinister guy. And it's like, okay, I get it. I see the balancing act. I don't know how much I can support it yet. But again, to your point, Badger, Colin Farrell, he makes you like watching him in this show specifically. Sorry, Chris.
So probably his best performance.
I want to say something about just the season as a whole, because the actor who played young Oz was amazing. I tried to look him up. Can you find it on IMDb? This actor was incredible. And it reminded me of something I saw as a kid. And I think, seriously, the next phase is going to be Lil Penguin. You could do a whole series. Sorry. You could do a whole series about the Penguin as a kid. That actor was so good. And I'll prove it to you. This is a movie I saw as a kid that starred Scott Baio and Jodie Foster.
Oh, is it Bugsy Malone?
Bugsy Malone, which was a gangster movie with all children, and they kill each other with machine guns that shoot cream pies. Now, make of that what you will. I'm just saying, I found the trailer because a lot of people have never heard of this movie. It was from 1976. Let's watch this trailer here. It's and you'll get my idea here.
A new movie. It's a gangster musical called Bugsy Malone, and it's kind of unusual because all the parts are played by kids around my age. Hold on a minute. I can see a few of you out there choking on your popcorn at the thought of 200 kids in ringlets across the screen. Look, I'm not too fond of kids myself. This ain't no ordinary kid story. Believe me, there ain't never been a movie like it. Take a look.
Your name Robinson?
You work with Fat Sam?
I remember. New York, 1929. Prohibition. Gang warfare. A world of gangsters.
Did you want Muppets or kids? And they were like, kids.
Quite possibly the most unique motion picture for years.
Everybody loves that man. Bugsy Malone.
And if that isn't enough.
This happened. This happened.
I think it's movie.
First, we do approve of that.
There goes our monetization.
Totally worth it.
By the way, that's Paul Williams doing all the music.
Hooray! Too kind, guys. Too kind. That's it. Don't forget that. Number one, man. Stop big. How about smearing my lips? Careful, Tallulah. Call me close enough to call my lawyer.
My name is Tallulah.
Disavow.
Oh my God.
Disavow.
Take what you give me and I won't ask why.
You're a dime a dozen gangster, Sam. You're a dirty rat, Dan.
Don't be a man, you know you can't be certain that you'll lose until you try. so give it a try. Put him in the ring, Joe, chicken on a cart. Let me have a wing, Joe, tearing him apart. That chicken will grow. Then he'll call it quits for sure, Joe.
Every year brings a great movie. Every decade.
I don't remember this movie being so weird.
Bugsy Malone.
I do.
There's never
Blocked
ever
it
been a
out,
movie
I
like
think,
it.
dude.
Get your heart out, Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember this, but I don't remember the music. That was the music.
Yeah, I remember this movie.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
I want a cream pie machine gun. That's that's my takeaway. I saw that I saw it in a theater as a kid. It's ridiculous. They have these, scaled cars they drive around. I love this movie, but does seem a little weird with the dancing girls that are like 13. That does seem that scene was a little like I mean at the time
Knowing what we know now of Hollywood, man, I would feel very uncomfortable watching that movie now.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable watching it right now.
But look at how dark Penguin was as a kid. You could almost do a think of it, Lil Gotham. You got Lil Penguin, Lil Riddler, Lil Joker, Lil Bruce Wayne. I mean, it could work, right? Like they've reached. I feel like every franchise is dead when they do like the Muppet Babies or something, right? When it goes cute, it's like it's been around too long. They've run out of things. Yeah, the pedal cars was hilarious, but I just thought that actor who played young Oz was fantastic. He was chilling.
Yeah, his name's Ryder Allen, and I threw his IMDb in the private chat there if you wanted to take a look.
Yeah, he's only been in one. Was Palmer starring Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he was a uncredited actor on Law and Order.
Yeah. Just that scene from last week, man, when he's sitting with his mom on a couch while his brothers are drowning, and he's just like, happy as a log, like no cares in the world. I'm like, wow, man, this dude is a sociopath.
Yeah, that was scary.
And the kid did such a great job of portraying that.
All right. Well, what are our final thoughts on the Penguins? I mean, my final thought is this is going to win all the awards. It's going to get all the accolades, and it should. Today they did I was invited to, but did not attend a Zoom press conference with Colin Farrell.
Horrible.
They're kind of doing a victory lap about the show. I think this went beyond everyone's expectations. I plan to see it again. Just a great TV show, not a great, it's like that was good for a superhero movie. There are movies there are movies and shows that go beyond. This went beyond. The Dark Knight went beyond, and it brings in people that don't care about superheroes because it tells a great story. And I don't know. I mean, will we see a season 2? I don't think so.
I don't think we need it. I don't think we need it.
They're in talks about it.
Matt Reeves said it.
Well,
source, but.
Well, I'll say this: whatever is going to wrap up with the Penguin storyline will be probably in the Batman 2.
No, it'll be in the Batman 2. Season 2 would be after because Colin said he had 4 or 5 scenes in the Batman 2.
Right.
So any sequel would be afterwards, but.
And I do want to say that it's so refreshing because I'm in this state now, especially with superhero movies, with just bad comic book movie fatigue is what I've been having. And I don't care about the MCU anymore. And I feel like it's also part of the problem too is that they don't have a strong vision, but it also is these grand scale, huge ensemble characters. And for me, what I always liked more was the smaller scale, just the singular hero story or just the protagonist, that just smaller scale, street level and more grounded take. That's what really resonates with me, those kinds of stories. And I feel like that's what I was really wanting and just wasn't getting it anymore from the MCU and DC for the large part with their other, whatever James Gunn is doing. Like I have a vague curiosity, but otherwise it's just apathy. But this actually
curiosity.
Well, yeah, it's not apathy towards James Gunn. I'm just more curious as to what he's going to do. But this actually stirred something that I haven't felt in a long time. I'm invested and I'm excited for what's ahead for Batman. So I applaud it for doing something that I didn't expect. And I didn't expect much from the Penguin show at all. I was kind of like, I'll check it out because I like the character in the first movie. So yeah, but I was completely surprised at how well done it was. Great performances, just great character work, which is what you need to do to ultimately succeed. And yeah, great.
By the way, the showrunner is female of the Penguin.
Yeah, that's
and,
Lauren
and
LeBron.
you noticed that Warner Brothers didn't bring that up at all. They didn't.
Well, and honestly, I wish I hadn't have seen some of the behind the scenes, because she made a couple of comments that I think I would have interpreted scenes. It's a lot like with House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, where as long as you don't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think honestly, the fact that they were able to make such a great show about the Penguin of all Batman characters. Look, the Penguin is a very known character. Is he anybody's favorite Batman villain? No. I became more of a fan of the Penguin during the Arkham games because they showed a better side of him. But the fact that they made a show this so well written, so well directed, so well acted about the Penguin.
Is that Christopher Lloyd?
Yes, that Penguin, that version of Penguin. The fact that they were able to do that, it completely blew my mind. It blew all my expectations. I honestly don't want a season 2. I like that. Like, they have this perfect season. Just leave it at that, man. Like, don't go to the well too often, right? We're going to have them in Batman 2. We don't need a season 2. But if they're going to do it, I just hope that they take the same care that they took with this season, the same thought, and give us something good, man. But for me, honestly, this is show of the year. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's show of the year. And I know Shogun was good and everything. This to me was the
10 out of 10.
Yes, absolute 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm reading this interview with Matt.
Even with the problems it had, I had 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm reading this interview with Matt Reeves about it, and basically they're in talks about season 2, and that it would focus on Oz and Sophia again, which it should, and that the Penguin makes small appearances in the Batman, and it's really about Batman and.
You muted, Alan.
Am I?
There we go.
You were saying. Conclude.
Yeah, I was saying that there's an interview with Matt Reeves about this, and he was surprised by the success of it, and by success, they're in talks for season 2, and that it'll be Oz and Sophia and that continuing story, and that the Penguin makes small appearances in the Batman, but it's really about Bruce and the Batman and the Rogues Gallery at this point. That's what the movie is.
I'll say this. I hope this show basically influences the Batman 2 to be a better movie. I think the reaction to, as much as I like parts of the Batman, the reaction is mixed to that movie.
Yeah.
The reaction is mixed.
Yeah.
The third act did not stick the landing, and some nice world building. Pattinson, yes, he's a good, he's good as the character, but a lot of flaws in that film. And so I hope that the Penguin and the level of writing and everything about the Penguin was just better. I mean,
Reeves talked about how hands off he was with this, and how it was Lauren LaFranc's vision that got him, and he just let her go, and and kept it, guidance in terms of keeping it within the Batman world, but it was her project.
And she did an amazing job. So. There you go. So we should go to comments here. Then I have one last news story we can have fun with. But let's go here.
William for 5. Penguin finale was amazing. Even the preview before the finale showed HBO has a stacked 2025. Lots of great looking shows premiering or returning. Yeah, Lane's about to clean up this year.
Thanks, William.
Bene Gesserit's going to be good for her channel. Red Pilled Rants for $4.99, saying that Penguin is the best show in the past year doesn't do it justice. I would say it's the best in 5, if not more, but that's just me.
Red Pill Rants, thank you for that. And yeah, I'm trying to think, what was the best TV show of last year?
The Bear.
The Gentleman. The Gentleman on Netflix.
I heard The Gentleman was really good.
That's a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
I really like Only Murders in the Building. It's a really clever, well-done mystery. Good comedy, too.
Tulsa King, and then House of the Dragon,
House of the Dragon,
and Bluey.
Yeah, Lord Comet, Bluey. Yeah, Lord Comet for 2. That's how we do it.
Hell yeah.
CD sign 69 for $4.99. A Batman series where he uses more of his detective skills and less fantastical would be great. More like a 24 type show. 1 season, 1 villain.
I love that. Like, it's so like all these things that are so hard to do, like Blade. It's so simple if you stick to that core and not have a million agendas being shoehorned in. Like, you can do something great.
Honestly, that's what I liked about the first 2 acts of the Batman, because it was him being the detective, and then that third act turned him into the superhero, which no
it
one
was
wants.
like a Michael Bay movie. It was,
But I mean, Matt Reeves is not very good at doing detective work. I mean, I'm watching this movie going, this is really amateur detective work at best, because Alfred's doing all the heavy lifting and Batman's just kind of there. I'm like, no, give it more to Bruce Wayne. Get him to be the one that figures out the
To be fair,
stuff.
It's more of a Batman Earth 1 type shit where Alfred does help him more, and he's only in his second year. But I
think part 2 is Batman, is Bruce becoming coming into his own.
Learning both, and obviously we did see, even though people think it fell apart the third, you sort of had to see it, because look at what the character Gotham was with the flooding and the destruction and the power vacuums. Oilers Workshop for $4.99. The way I took it was everyone was living a lie because it justified getting them where they really wanted to be, because they're all that awful. Awful worlds make awful people.
That's a mafia story. That's the definition of a mafia story.
That's the story of everyone in Hollywood.
Certainly Gotham. Certainly a Gotham City.
Yeah. Lane, you were going to say.
Oh, I just said, well said. Yeah, I'm tired of, it's just a trope now of the sympathetic villain. And so even all these other minor characters, there was depth there, and it was just done well. They all these stories about, it's just black and white with heroes and villains. There's shades of gray. I feel like it's so overdone, but they did it well with more complexity and nuance.
Some DC, especially Batmans, do have a lot of, like, Mr. Freeze is a sympathetic villain. He's just trying to do his wife. Pamela, they all do have one thing.
Yeah,
except for
it's just
maybe
becoming
Joker.
a trope now in Hollywood. So it's just refreshing to get
I
back
get
to
you.
basics. But I do appreciate that too. Sometimes.
Except Matthean for 100 Swedish kronor. Just take a 0 off of there. Can this Batman franchise do villains that are a bit more out there, or will we get stuck with Mr. Freeze in a gritty ice cream van, poison ivy? Yeah, he's already said he's going to stay away from the more fantastic ones. Like Gentleman Ghost was his example.
They've been done in other media, I think the animated series really showed you how you could do a Batman television series. The old school from 92, like 93 was it? That series was appointment TV at the time. I loved it. It was so good. The music, the design, the characters, like the growth, the arcs in that show. I mean, everything about the animated series was amazing. So they showed how it could be done.
Dante pointed out the Arkhamverse. That is essentially the animated series in video game form. It is photorealistic. It looks like real life, and they got all the Mr. Freezes and the clay faces. So it really could all be done. It's just you can't cheap out on your CGI. You got to let them actually do passes on it.
Also, you got to go all in, man. Like if you're gonna do those characters, man, you can't do it half-assed. If you're gonna put in Clayface, man, it needs to be Clayface and everything that comes along with Clayface.
Everyone's waiting for this news, which is Spaceballs 2 gets a major progress update from co-writer Josh Gad. Now, let me just say this. If Spaceballs 2 comes out before a new Star Wars movie, something is wrong. So, I mean, there's not really much info here. If you could read that first paragraph, maybe even just the second paragraph actually is where the hard.
Gad revealed the draft script for Spaceballs 2 is complete and that readers have been blown away. Co-writer explained how support from Brooks, which means this is not even really written by him, has been extremely helpful in developing the movie, especially since it coincides with the joke about the sequel Yogurt made in the original. Okay. However, he made sure not to give away any surprises. When asked about the sequel potentially being titled Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, he simply said, "Watch this space."
So here you go. This is the statement.
without MGM taking me into their Culver prison cells, I can tell you that the draft is done. Everybody who's read it has been blown away. The process of working on this with and alongside Mel Brooks has been one of the highlights of my career. It was sort of a fever dream that this all happened. Mel has been so unbelievably supportive, involved, and electrified by this because it's the one that surprisingly got away. It's a dream to be able to finally make the reality prophesied by Yogurt in the first movie happen. I can't say more than that. I can't tell you anything beyond the process at this point, but I can tell you every hour of every day right now is spent making this project closer and closer to reality, and I think we're nearing the end zone here.
You know what would make this really great? If they made Yogurt, which is the character Mel Brooks plays based on Yoda, if they did it full digital, but it looked like digital from like 2005.
And then switched halfway through, did a really bad puppet.
Like it's a puppet, it's digital because Mel Brooks is old. I mean, he's
90s, I think. Yeah.
He's too old to play Yogurt, really?
Do a digital Yogurt or a puppet Yogurt, but have Mel Brooks do the voice. Like that's how you do this.
Yeah,
So
Baby Yogurt.
It's authentic and mock. They really need to. Yes, Baby Yogurt, Dutch McColland. They need to just lean in to everything that sucks about current Star Wars. Put it in Spaceball 2.
But will it be funny?
But I'll say this, with Josh Gad doing it, who works for Disney, can I just say, probably not going to happen.
Well, that's because Josh Gad isn't funny.
He's insufferable.
Has he written anything that I don't not familiar with his writing?
He's primarily an actor.
Isn't he Olaf in Frozen?
Yeah.
He's Olaf in Frozen.
He's written.
He was the gay guy in Beauty and the Beast as well, I think.
Well, they were both the gay guys, I think.
Well, I know his acting career. I don't if he's done anything of note in the writing department.
Series called Central Park a couple of years back that nobody watched.
Yeah, but on the upside, he didn't write for Rick and Morty.
Unless Rick Moranis is making his big comeback, then no, I don't have hope.
Yeah, filled with Trump and Elon jokes. Correct.
Well,
that is exactly what it'll be filled with.
This movie is 20 years too late.
Yeah,
true.
We already made fun of Star Wars for the past 5 or 6 years. We already had a funeral. You know,
it's hard to parody it when we've already parodied it.
I mean, as we point out, the entire cast has to be replaced.
Bro, Acolyte was the parody. What else could you do?
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's a great idea that will not come to fruition because of current day. And that's all I'll say about that. All right. All right. This was a great show. I gotta say, this was really, really great. So let's see, let's get updates from people. Right?
Okay, here.
Your mic went
your mic's going in and out.
Oh shit!
That music. It's that music. Turn the music.
I'll turn it off. Okay, Badger, you got stream coming up.
Badgercast, yes, coming up right now in 30 minutes. I put the link in the chat if our dear Lori could put that out there. And yes, thank you, excellent show today.
Thank you. It was fun. Appreciate you, Badger. Script.
Yeah. So this Saturday on Scripts on Saturdays, we're going to be taking a look at a horror film, I think, called Ferocious, which is like a crime horror film. So come check us out Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on my channel, The Script Doctor. Thank you.
Dante.
Yeah, you guys can find me in Verbal Riot, Rumble, YouTube, and X. I have a video coming out today about Wicked and some things that have come out about that movie. I have my show on Thursdays at 7 p.m. this week, and the After Hours on Saturdays at 9 p.m. PST.
And Elaine, you are ramping up for Doom Prophecy.
Yeah, and I should be, and of course you can find me here on YouTube, the main channel Nerd Cookies, where I cover sci-fi, fantasy, news, and lore. So yeah, I've been covering Doom Prophecy as well, so you can keep an eye out for that. I also have a second channel, Nerd Cookies Rants, where I laugh and rant about the current state of some of these sci-fi properties. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Nerd Cookies. I should be streaming sometime this week. I don't know exactly when, but you can find notifications on Twitter as well. I've been 5 years on YouTube, so thank you all for the support. It's been great, and great discussion as always.
Congratulations. Your lore videos I love on Dune. Some breaking news here before we end. Let's look at this. If you would look at
the complete opposite of Acolyte.
Yeah, the Penguin finale gathers 2.1 million viewers, 50% increase from the premiere. So to be clear, it started like this and about 1 million people watching, and then 2 million people were watching by the end. It's like more people discovered it and it did better than when it started, instead of these other series we look at where they start here and then gradually go down. And I think a lot of people are probably rewatching earlier episodes. Quick comments on this before we wrap up. But does this surprise anyone? These
huge shock. No chanting, and it did this. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the way it should be. More people watching by the end. That's how you know it's a great show. So
and
I
no
want
artificial social media inflation. That's the other part too.
Good writing, positive word of mouth, looking at you, rings of power. This is what should have been happening.
Yeah, all of
the numbers
this
bear it
stuff.
out.
Yeah, Rings of Power, decline, Acolyte, decline. The Penguin increased viewership by half. That's huge. They doubled their viewers. It was 50%. So that's still a big increase.
Don't ruin it, Matt. Don't ruin the momentum.
And fostered excitement for the next thing, the next film.
Yeah. So Badger, is that your link? Yes.
Yeah.
You'll put the link to point everyone to you and your stream. I want to thank everybody. All the panelists. You guys are amazing. Even Alan.
Especially Alan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No.
And I can officially talk about Gladiator 2. And it's
yes.
It's
yeah.
bad.
Actually,
No,
on that,
R&B said it was Top Gun level.
No. Let me just say, Alan, I got a mess. I'm going to read an email I got from someone, and I will not identify this person. But this person says, in response to your early reaction to Gladiator 2, says, "Hi, Chris. On Halloween, I was at a get-together, and one of the people there works for one of the major trade magazines and does interviews, etc. Anyway, we're talking about movies, and Gladiator 2 came up, and she said it was just fine. I replied back, all these reviewers on Twitter are saying it's awesome. She then said they're influencer reviews. The studio brings them in early just so they can hype up the film and give a great review. Ridley needs to retire." That is
Rob, confirmed influencer.
That is from someone. No, your reaction was real, Alan. It was, it's okay.
Right? No, it's bad.
Oh, you saying it's bad?
It's bad.
It's
is
mixed to bad.
I mean, to have the first movie and to produce this as the next one, sorely disappointing. And I agree. That's why I'm worried about Wicked, because they brought the influencers in. They gave it. And
the overhyped praise for Wicked, I'm concerned about.
Make sure to check out their website, wicked.com. You're going to love what you find there. Make sure you're over 18.
Do not go to wicked.com.
Make sure you're over 18.
I do not go there.
I'll tell you, CG killed Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
And the story.
Right.
But
Thank you all. We will be back on Wednesday for Hollywood on the Rocks. I will be reviewing the first 4 episodes of Dune Prophecy, non-spoiler. Friday, we've got the normal Film Threat live cast, tons of reviews and interviews. And then Monday, here with Versus, talking Dune Prophecy, and news, of course, as always. I want to thank you all. It's always fun. I always look forward to this. It's like hanging out with friends at the nerd bar with nerd drinks and talking nerd stuff. So thank you.
There was a girl and everything.
Love it.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. And I got to thank also our mods, Lord Thoth, Mexican Iron Man, and Paulie at Latino Slant. Love these guys. Appreciate you all. We'll be back next week. Alan, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
Gladiator 2.
Let's get out of here.
Alan, did you
Oh,
have
that's
anything?
right. Hey, folks, let's get out of here.